Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of A Few Short Minutes, the pod. I am Stacey Short, your host, and I just want to remind you that it takes a few short minutes a day to actually rewire your brain. Today, my friends, we have Ivory Howard, and let me tell you about Ivory. She understands that everyone's relationship with health and wellness is different, which I absolutely love. And she seeks to honor that within her work. Perfect. She provides her clients with challenging workouts focused on strength, balance, flexibility in order to help them reach their health and fitness goals. She's a certified yoga and Pilates instructor. Oh my gosh, Pilates kicked my butt. She also received her Master of Public Health and advanced training in plant-based nutrition. She's been seen in U.S. News and World Report, Health Digest, Fit and Well, Weight Watchers, The Zoe Report, Sisters of AARP, shout out LA, and so many more in for helping others achieve their fitness and health goals. Ivory, welcome to the podcast. Tell me a little bit more about you outside of that.
Great. Thank you for having me. I help, as you mentioned, I am a yoga and Pilates instructor, and I help busy professional women work out consistently to reclaim their health with ease because it is not easy. So I like to help them do it as easily as possible.
That's awesome. Tell me, how did you get started in this?
A few years ago, but really my passion is just to be able to help people work out consistently so that they can avoid many of the chronic diseases that we suffer from in the US, like stroke, diabetes, and cancer. These are all preventable, and we know exactly how to do that, but not everyone has a master's in public health, right? So I like to be able to share that knowledge with them so that they can be able to work out consistently and prevent many of these chronic diseases.
That's amazing. And when did your passion for fitness start?
Probably at a young age. I was always interested in it. That's a great question. No, I think it's just been a lifelong endeavor. And then I went on to pursue a master's in public health and got certified in fitness and yoga and Pilates and just continue to do it as well and be able to share that knowledge with other people has been a great way for me to pass that along.
And what about those modalities appeal to you, yoga and Pilates? It's not like you're a weight training coach or a Zumba coach. You've chosen uh, to focus more or less. I mean, I'm sure you've got your extraneous stuff, but more or less on yoga and Pilates. Why?
I do think they're great workouts. I mean, focus on balance, strength, and flexibility in those workouts, but they are also, many people should remember this, that they are weight bearing exercises. You're just using your own body weight, not extra body weight. So it is great for that as well. And certainly, body weight exercises are important as we age. We all need to use weight bearing exercises. So this checks that box as well. So many different things all in one. You don't have to do many different workouts if you don't want to. That's totally up to you. The CDC recommends that we get 2 strength training sessions a week and 150 minutes of cardio exercise. So you can do that all with yoga and Pilates.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. When I did Pilates, oh my gosh,
I hear
it
the
was
trauma in your
killer.
voice.
Woo! I loved it. Well, I went back for more. So obviously it wasn't, too traumatic. It was just an eye opener
Yeah.
about how heavy your actual body can be once you hold it up 6 inches off the ground for, more than 30 seconds. And woo, then everything starts to kick in. And, I love it. I love it so much. It is addicting, but man, it was an eye opener for sure. For sure.
Yeah, and it
Tell me,
opens your
no,
eyes
no,
to body awareness so that you are more aware of what your body can do and how challenging it can be to work those smaller muscles, not just your larger muscles that we do in the gym or with cardio exercise.
yeah, for sure. Zumba ain't got nothing on Pilates. That is one. That is faux show. Tell me about your first experience with yoga and Pilates, since I just exposed myself.
Let's see. I kind of remember the early days. I certainly remember starting yoga in like my local Gold's Gym. We had a studio there with a little yoga instructor. who really challenged us in stretching, and she was great. And I went like every week to see her. Um, and in Pilates, I almost don't remember my first Pilates class, but I think it was also at a local Gold's Gym. But from that experience, I decided to get certified. Um, yeah, so it just started there, just having a convenient place to go, an instructor that you love, and just being able to work out consistently, and then finding that passion and wanting to be able to share with others is how it all started.
Talk about that for a second, because I think it's so important. And I know a lot of people, I mean, it's January 2nd when we're recording this. A huge number of people made New Year's resolutions yesterday or the day before, I'm sure. And here we are, day 2. If some of you have fallen off the wagon, that's okay. That's okay.
Right.
Yeah, it is okay. But talk about that motivation that you said of like working out, and then the passion and the motivation come, because I think people get it twisted. I think they think first that they have to have the motivation and the passion, and that's kind of not how it is across the board for most people, right?
Um, I, I mean, definitely that is true. I was thinking about that even before the interview, that so many people set those resolutions and they think, I'm not feeling motivated, I'm not feeling hopeful, I'm not feeling inspired. Listen, you don't need any of those things to work out consistently. And you're probably not going to feel any of those things until you actually take action and do the workout. Then you feel motivated, then you feel hopeful, then you feel inspired. That's how it works. I mean, that's why so many manifestation coaches tell you to feel the feeling that you will
Yes.
have once you find the thing that you seek. But that's really hard for people to do. Like, we're just not hardwired to do that. Not everyone is able to do it. So you just have to take action first. That is the hard part, just to like get the movement and the momentum going. And then you'll begin to feel hopeful and motivated. That's just how it works for us. And just be mindful of who you are and how we're hardwired, and take that into consideration when you are making plans for your health and fitness, and you'll be much more successful in your goals.
Oh, I love that. I love that you said, you've got to take action first and then the motivation comes, because I like I said previous, I think people have it twisted. I think they're like, oh, I'm going to feel motivated to work out because I made this, goal for myself, this resolution. And so now I'm going to, I need to attain the goal. That's not how that works. That's
No,
not
not at
how that
all.
works. Right?
Yeah, sorry. You must take action first.
Yeah,
That's how it goes.
January 1st was the catalyst for, motivation. Resolutions wouldn't fail with a resounding thud as much as they do. And you could do it any point in time. July 1st, May 32nd, like it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't
Right.
matter. You're never going to have the motivation initially. So you just got to get up and move your body. What do you say to those people who kind of had made that goal of like, the general one of like, oh, I want to get healthier? What would you say to those people?
For sure, we're going to have to make little adjustments to your goals. I mean, smart goals are not sexy, but they do work. Your goals need to be more specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and certainly time-based. So make sure that your goals have all of those components. Like, for example, if you want to practice yoga, let's set a different goal that is a SMART goal and say, I want to practice yoga Monday, Wednesday, Friday after work. That's, when you hit that goal, because it is measurable, and definitely specific, and it's definitely realistic, attainable, and it has that time-based component, which is really important. Like, you need to focus on those 5 things. Your goals need to have those. It's a great way just to make sure that you know when you hit your goal, and you can track it and track your progress. Those are all important, and certainly be accountable to yourself or to others when you set a SMART goal. So those are really important in terms of setting goals. And once you have
Yeah,
that, once you have that, we can work on all of the little ways that you can stay consistent and feel motivated.
yeah. So first, set those goals. Like she said, SMART. That is an acronym, you guys. Well known in coaching. It's specific, measurable, attainable, Why am I blanking on the R?
Realistic and time-based.
Realistic, thank you. And time-based. I don't know. Yeah. ADHD. It's wild. So those are, that is something we use in the coaching world, whether you're a health coach or a life coach like me, in order to help you set and obtain your goals. And so let's talk about those goals, especially for people that maybe have been a hermit or a troll since, in a loving way, friends, in a loving way. A goblin of some sort since the pandemic, and they're like, okay, it's 2024, I gotta move my butt now. What do they do?
Well, I would definitely just get started. Start as small as you can. Whatever goal you may have for your health and fitness, it might seem overwhelming or impossible, but it's important just to start, to begin. And you can always break down those seemingly impossible goals into smaller bits and accomplish those on your way to accomplishing that much larger goal. But it is important just to start, just begin. Because that's, like we mentioned before, is where you're going to be able to feel that momentum, feel motivated, and certainly feel much more like it is possible. And you might feel a little bit inspired to keep going. And you'll certainly, along the way, maybe find community, which is another important component in your success in health and fitness. So just begin, roll out your mat and get started.
Yeah, and it could look vastly different today than it looks tomorrow, even, right? Today it could be just some light stretching. Maybe you go for a walk around the block, and then tomorrow could look completely different. And I think people get caught in the perfectionism of like, oh, I have to do 30 minutes of, some cardio. But I only have an hour before my next thing and I can't do it. And so talk about that kind of perfectionism within the workout, health space, because I think people get tripped up there.
Yeah, sure. But before I get into perfectionism, I just want to mention that I think many people are coming back from to this post-pandemic world, figuring out what their new normal is. Everyone's coming back from work from home to work in their physical space, and things are different. For one, you were older, and what worked before may not work now, so you might have to figure out a couple of different things. Maybe you're focused on something new. It's just not going to be like it was before. So you're gonna maybe have to try a few different things and see what works for you now, 4 years later, after coming out of the pandemic. So first, in terms of perfection, that may not be what you expect it to be. So certainly let that go and try to figure out something else that works for you now. Certainly as you age, you might want to focus on not necessarily what the workout is, but how your heart rate is as you move during your workout. So that's a great way to know whether or not you are getting the workout that you'd want to get. And in terms of perfectionism, it's never going to be perfect. Maybe you don't have 20 or 30 minutes for your workout. Maybe you only have 10 or 15, and that's great too. We'll use those 10 or 15. We do know from research that is also effective. Those exercise snacks are a great way to stay fit as well.
I love that phrase. That phrase is perfect. That's the first time I've heard it. Exercise snacks? Who doesn't love a good snack? Let's go.
I know, a workout that's only 10 or 12 minutes, that works. So take advantage of those minutes that you have throughout the day. And there are lots of little ways to squeeze in a workout, even when you're going back to your physical space. If you only have time to walk during lunch, that works. If you want to go for a run and be very adventurous during your lunch break, that works too. There are lots of little products that make it work for you in terms of a power shower or something like that. So lots of ways to get around it so that you can be sure to get the workout that you need.
So what you said earlier is that you help busy women start a routine and be consistent. Talk about your ideal clients. Why are they busy? How do you help them with that? Talk about your business a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So I do help busy professional women work out consistently, and I think that we all find that we are busy, but I think as we enter our careers, we find that we are sitting a lot. We sit during our commute, we sit at work, we sit on the commute back, and then when we get home, all we feel like doing is taking a break and sitting down. So there's a lot of sitting, and we know that
Yep.
sitting is connected to chronic disease. So it's really important to get moving, and in order to be able to prevent these chronic diseases. So that's what I help many of these busy professional women do, and that is because sitting is just it's the new smoking. We need to be mindful of that as we move throughout our day.
Talk about that a little bit, because I, in the recesses of my mind, I had seen some sort of statistic somewhere equating sitting with smoking. So talk about how how the negative effects of sitting actually, like, how they impact your health, because I don't think people understand.
Yeah, I mean, we are wired to move, so we should be moving throughout our day. And sitting, it just begets more sitting, right? You just feel like sitting, sitting more when you sit, and that's all connected to chronic diseases like cancer and diabetes and even stroke as well. So, along with our movement and exercise patterns, that's connected to our eating patterns as well. Maybe you're not eating as healthful as you would like, or you're eating a lot of processed foods or highly processed foods. And that combination with a lack of exercise is not great. And there are many, many, many different chronic diseases that we suffer from, but sitting is directly connected to many of those, or a lack of exercise. So important to be mindful of that, even though I know it can be very difficult. We need to keep moving as we enter the career space and as we age.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I had heard some statistics somewhere, like, about sitting and smoking. I can't remember the correlation, but it wasn't good, my friends. It wasn't good. Um, for sure. I'm interested. We talked. You referenced manifestation a little bit,
Yeah.
and you're a yogini. How do you incorporate the mindfulness practices and the kind of like meditative, the more spiritual stuff of yoga into what you do, whether it's personal or professional?
Yeah, I think that's something that many clients can bring to their practice on the mat, but we do start each practice, yoga practice, with a setting and intention. So that gives you a place where you can decide maybe you want to dedicate your practice to someone that is struggling, or you want to be more mindful of the purpose, or maybe even your motivation for working out. And that's a time where you can set that intention. And you can come back to that intention as you move throughout your practice. So when things get difficult, you can come back to that. And it just teaches you how to move through challenges when things are difficult, how to be more focused. So we say that practice on the mat is practice for life off the mat. So that's really just a great place for you to be more mindful of that, and just practice working through challenges, working through difficulties. And I think it's really helpful just to set that intention at the beginning and use that throughout your practice, and then come back to it at the end and see how you feel. Maybe at the end you want to journal a little bit, and that's totally up to each person. Maybe that feels like a good place to journal. If you want to journal later, or if that's not a part of your practice, that's totally cool. But the intention, I think, is really helpful just to have as you move through your yoga practice.
I
Yeah.
think that's lovely, and I love how you said, the practice on the mat is preparation for off the mat, and I love that you set an intention, because in goal setting, period, whether it's for a hour long yoga class or any kind of goal, having that intention, having that why, it can be a driver when you don't have motivation, right?
Right.
So, uh, for me, some of the twist poses are harder. So if
Right.
I remember, okay, if I set the intention of why, of like, because I don't want my joints to hurt, so I'm going to do these twist poses, even though they're uncomfortable for me now, they're going to get easier later, because I know through this practice that I will have less and less joint pain, because now I'm moving them in ways that maybe they don't normally get that kind of movement. And in the bigger picture, having that why can propel you forward when you're lacking that motivation and power, and passion, excuse me, not power, to move forward. And it could be something like as big as, oh, I want to start my own business, or it could be something as little as I want to feel better in my own body, which isn't little, but in the scheme of things, building a business seems a lot bigger than feeling better in your own body. In actuality, I feel like they're the same level, right? And so having that why is important. Talk about how you help your clients find their why, whether it's that short little yoga class or the bigger picture.
Yeah, the why is very important. I mean, that will help you move forward and make progress. I mean, there are many reasons to come back to the why. Not only does it help you work out, but it helps you continue to work out and be consistent. Because that is your motivation, your reason for doing it, or your purpose, and that's important to come back to as you move through your workouts and make progress. I was going to say something else about that, but I lost track. But that is the general gist of what I wanted to say. Okay. Yeah, I mean, why is very important, but you can come back to that again and again as you move forward.
It's kind of like a guiding light, right?
Right.
The why.
Exactly.
Remember why you started this. Remember what you promised yourself. What's something that you want more people to know about your industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think first that the chronic diseases that we suffer from in the United States, like stroke, cancer, diabetes, these are preventable. And if you have them, I want you to know that you can live a long, active, and healthy life. I think many people just think that, it's in my genes, I'm going to get it sooner or later. But I'm like, no, you do have power, you do have some control over these things. And then I think another thing that I'd love for people to know, which is connected, is that you are the director of your health team, right? Your doctor is one of those advisors on your team. So when you go speak with your physician or your healthcare practitioner, like, it's up to you. Feel free to ask questions, and they will advise you. Like, if there's something that you want to do in your life, like, for example, start a plant-based diet, talk about that with your physician, and they'll advise you, maybe give you some recommendations or resources, and then you can make an informed decision based on what you discussed with your physician. And that will help you. You are the director. There are many people on your team. Use those as advisors. Feel free to ask questions, but you manage that team, and you should be more empowered to not only manage that team, but be the director of your healthcare as well.
I love that.
Yeah. I think those are two of the important things that I'd love to mention. Just make people feel more empowered about their healthcare, and to let them know that it is not hopeless. Even as we age, you do have control and power over your health and your healthcare. Yeah, definitely those are the things that I'd like for them to know.
Yeah, I love that. I think people feel sometimes that because the doctors are doctors, that they know better
Right.
about, about that person's body, and nobody knows better about your body than you because you live in your body. And
Right.
so you have to be the advocate for yourself. And just because somebody has letters behind their name doesn't necessarily mean that they know better for you. They can give you information and education and advice, but it's up to you to sift through it and figure out what works for you. And that might look like a lot of trial and error. Talk about the trial and error that exists in getting healthy.
Yeah, there are many. There are many. You're going to feel those setbacks and those difficulties. But certainly talk about that with your physician. And I do just want to add one other thing that is important. If you feel like your physician is not working for you, or you two don't work well together, feel free to look for another healthcare provider. There are many out there, and there are plenty of reviews online. You have control. Feel free to direct that health team however you like, however you can within your healthcare plan or your location. But feel empowered to do that work if it's needed for you to make sure that you can live the life that you would like to live. And then I think what was the question?
Trial and error. That's
Trial and
okay.
error,
No,
yes.
that's okay. Trial and error. No, I think that's
Um,
super important that people know they can fire their doctor. And that goes for any professional in your life. It's not just like your hairstylist that you can fire, but you can
right,
fire your therapist, your coach, your doctor, your lawyer. Like if they're not working with you in
right,
harmony, then don't stay. They're not everybody is for everybody.
right.
So just because again they have doctor or their therapist or whatever, that doesn't mean that they're going to be for you. But there are doctors and therapists out there that will connect with you on that kind of level. So I'm glad that you said that, because I think people, again, they give their power over to people that
Mhm.
have letters behind their name, right? And yeah, so I'm glad that you said that. So trial and error. Talk about that kind of process, because it's daunting when you hit obstacles or roadblocks. It's daunting when maybe you had some expectations and it doesn't look like your expectations. And then that inner critic, that's all the inner critic needs, that little room to creep in and go, this isn't for you. You shouldn't be doing this, which may or may
Right.
not be true.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it starts with just trying something new, stepping out of your comfort zone, and certainly working out, exercising. That is all about, being finding comfort in the uncomfortable. You are going to be uncomfortable. Expect that. That is what exercise feels like. And just be mindful of that. I think that's why it's hard for many people. You don't expect it to be so uncomfortable, but you are literally challenging yourself. So expect to be uncomfortable and just find some kind of comfort within that discomfort. Um, so it's just all about that. And certainly there's going to be trial and error, just finding what works best for you and your body and the stage you are in your life. Like we mentioned a bit, talking about getting older or just finding yourself in a new place post pandemic. Like there, even when you get comfortable or you find yourself where you're in a place where you can work out consistently, you are in a new decade and there are new challenges and there are new discoveries and setbacks within that decade. So there's always going to be changes, and just expect that and find a community or a trainer that can help you with that, because you don't have to do it alone, and you're certainly not the first person to go through this. So find others who have been through the same thing. And I say that because so often we hide those challenges or those discomforts. Certainly when it comes to uh, menopause, we don't talk about that often, or the changes that women go through. So it's this
Girlfriends.
big secret society.
It
So,
is.
but you are
It
not the
is.
only one or the first one. So find a community where people are actually talking about that, whatever your issue is, so that you can um, find a solution or just find community and comfort there so that you can continue to work out consistently and manage your health in the best way possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad you brought up menopause. I am in the midst of perimenopause, and it is nasty in some aspects. It really has wreaked havoc on my life. And speaking of firing doctors, I went to my gynecologist last year. I lost half
Oh,
of my hair, and I was like, it was coming out in clumps. I mean, it. I would have thought I was undergoing chemo. It was that
mhm.
bad, and so I went to my gynecologist, and I was like, this can't be happening. Like, there's no reason for this. And he was like, oh, you're fine. He patted me on the hand and sent me on my way.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh god. My doctor
Yep.
would have gotten a talking to. No.
Yep. So I was like, huh, okay. And I went back to my primary care, and I was like, I need a new gynecologist, because this one just dismissed me, even though my blood work showed my estradiol was not detectable at all. He's like, and my gynecologist is like, I'd put you on a low dose birth control. That's what you're already on. So, but subsequently, I've done my own research and found a heck of a lot of herbal things that now are working for me. And
Right.
yeah, there was no medical guidance there. I had to go and seek that out myself. And so I love that you talk about community, because that's what happened. I went to a naturopath on like, I didn't see her in person. I literally found her on TikTok and started following some of the things that she recommended for perimenopausal women. And lo and behold, things worked. And now I've got these baby hairs coming in from when I lost all of my hair, which is great if they're not like being crazy and fuzzy.
No, it's gorgeous.
Yes, you're sweet. Thank you. But yes, I love that sense of community. Talk about community as far as your what you do and how accountability actually increases your chances of getting to those goals. I mean, it's a significant number, percentage wise.
Yeah, absolutely. Accountability and community are really important in terms of reaching your goal. There's lots of research around those too that say when you have those, you're more likely to complete your goals. We do incorporate those in my programs. It's so important to have community. We know from research that your life mimics the life of the people around you. So, for example, if your friends work out, you're more likely to work out. If your friends smoke, you're more likely to smoke. So, it goes for good and bad behavior. So, it's really important to be mindful of the community that you have around you. And if you want to change your behaviors and the people around you aren't in line with that, then it's important to seek out that community so that you can be as successful as possible in your goals. Community plays a big part in that. And certainly being accountable to someone every week or as a consistent time period, it will also increase your chances of accomplishing your goal. Very important. Just having someone there who's checking in with you, just saying what your goal is, you're more likely to be able to complete your goal and be successful if you have that accountability component in your plan.
I think I saw a statistic somewhere that it said even just saying your goal out loud to another person, or posting it on social media, whatever is your bag, increased your chances, your likelihood of attaining the goal by 36%, and then again by 71% if you actually had an accountability buddy. And I thought, wow, that those numbers are staggering. It's not just a 5%. It's significant increase of just saying the goals out loud, let alone grabbing somebody to do it with you. In my coaching, I see a lot of because I coach women who are struggling with exhaustion, indecisiveness, and loss of identity due to putting everybody else ahead of themselves, right? So they're people pleasers, caretakers. And what I see quite often is like the woman wants to move, change her life, move her body, whatever. But she's then looking to her partner to partner with her. And most of the time that partner doesn't want to. So what do you say to those, like my women? What would you say to them as far as like finding an accountability buddy and community? Do you have a community that you offer your clients? What does that look like?
Yeah, I was a part of a research study once that was tracking women and their healthy behaviors. And we found that when the women were supported by another female, they were more likely to accomplish their goals, but they weren't supported very well by their husbands and their brothers and their sons, husbands and their sons, just because they weren't in line with those healthy behaviors that you might make, like changing your diet, cooking something new. The husbands and sons weren't in line with that. They were supportive of the goal in general, but when it came down to making changes, they weren't supportive. So it's really important to have that community, or maybe even that other female support that can support you in making those healthy behavior changes. And in terms of community, if you don't have that at the moment, then certainly seek that out. Even if it's online, if it's not in person, that's okay. Seek it out online or virtually. And yes, many in my community, we have in-person classes and we have classes online. So you get to see all of your supportive yogi friends in person and online when we work out together. But definitely seek out that community. If you don't already have it, make sure that you find that support for yourself so that you can be successful and work out consistently.
What I love about what you do is you said that you meet people where they are, no matter, how far, how not far they are, and you craft, a program to help them become better. Um, what does that look like to work with you? Let's say, again, let's take somebody hasn't moved in 3 years or 4 years because of the pandemonium, and now they're like, okay, let's go. Um, I love the pandemonium as like the AKA for a pandemic, because it's like,
That's what it was.
yes, yes, that's exactly what it was. So how would it look like to work with you for somebody like hadn't moved in 4 years and now they want to get moving?
Well, they'll be relieved to know that we don't start with a workout. We actually start with a health coaching session just to be able to get to know each other, get to know your goals and what you'd like to accomplish. So we start there, we set some goals, and we figure out a workout plan for you. And then we can begin working out once we have something better established in terms of what you'd like for your health and for your fitness. And we have those goals, which are very important. We're going to start there. And then we can begin to work on the workout plan that we established in our first session. And you'll have many opportunities to work out online. And if you are in Washington, D.C. area, we can certainly work out in person. We have lots of community classes where you can meet others and just begin to come back to in-person events, which is happening right now. I think people are really looking forward to that. And if you can't meet in person, we can always meet online, which is great.
Yeah, I think if it showed us anything, it showed us that online is absolutely viable as
Mm-hmm.
far as, either working out, community, I mean, a million things, right? Education. We've shown that online is viable. And I love that. So there's like literally no excuse. You don't even have to leave your house. You can do
Right.
this in your pajamas. Nobody's going to see you. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And I just wanted to reiterate for my DC friends, y'all, DMV, my friends in DMV, Ivory's available. Go check her out. Fun fact: I went to high school in Woodbridge, Virginia, so I have a ton of friends in Northern Virginia, and my brother actually lives there still. So, yeah, DMV, go check out Ivory for sure. And for my people that live here in Vegas, where I am now, go check out Ivory online. Talk about what's one small thing that somebody could do today that would be beneficial for themselves in the long run.
I think the first thing that would be great to do is just, I know it sounds silly, but just take a time, and this is a great time of year to be able to do that, is to sit down and to think about what you want for your life. Think about what your goals are, and then certainly, if necessary, find someone who can help you with that, because as we mentioned, accountability and community are so important. And I know that when you're starting out, it might seem silly to hire a professional, but it's a great way to make sure that you are set up for success and that you'll be able to accomplish what you want and that you'll be accountable and you won't have a DOA resolution at the end of September. Like, you are going to make it past the end of January and be able to accomplish your goals. So it's really important. Even if it feels silly, just know that those people who have coaches accomplish things. And this is the reason why, because they are accountable, they have a plan, they've set SMART goals. And these are all things that are components of a program to make sure that you are successful. So even if it feels silly, if it's what you need, make sure that you go on to do that, add that person to your health team so that you can be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about plant-based eating, because I
Oh
saw
my
that in your bio.
God.
Interesting.
Yes.
Talk about that.
This is certainly one of the small things that you could do to make sure that you have better health right away, would be to think about having more days plant-based eating rather than not. And certainly start small. I know that one for sure is overwhelming to many people to be
Sure.
able to think about doing that. And there will be much trial and error with that, just learning what is and what isn't plant-based, and certainly finding recipes that work for you, and reading food labels. There's going to be a lot of trial and error. Even when you're committed to it, you'll find yourself mistakenly eating something that's animal-based. So just give yourself grace and be patient, and maybe start out just trying one day a week or even one meal a week, and you'll work up to all the other meals with time. It doesn't have to happen overnight. That journey might take 10 years. So just be patient with yourself, but certainly start to incorporate more plant-based meals, and let go of some other things that maybe aren't needed.
Yeah, I love that. I know that Meatless Monday is a huge movement in the
Yeah.
plant-based community. And I think that that is a brilliant way to dip your toe into this. It's just, Meatless Monday, don't eat meat, don't eat animal-based anything. And y'all know I'm an omnivore. I'm definitely an omnivore, but if I can do a Meatless Monday for a whole day, y'all can do it too, for sure. I also had a health coach tell me to add sprouts to whatever I could. She said, alfalfa sprouts, broccoli sprouts, like she was like, add sprouts to whatever you can. What would be your like one thing to add to whatever you can if somebody was trying to slowly change their diet?
Oh, if you were going to go with adding something, I would say spinach, or maybe other various greens that you can easily find in your grocery store, just because they go easily with everything. Certainly spinach you can add to salads and soups and sandwiches easily enough. You can have it on the side, so it's just a great way just to throw it in whatever you're making, in your smoothies or
I used to
whatever.
throw it
That's a great
into
one.
burgers. I used to throw
Yeah,
it into
absolutely.
burgers to hide it from my kids.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Yes.
It worked.
Yeah, that's a great one. I think that's an easy one to do. Yeah.
And if they were taking away anything, what would it be? That's not obvious. I mean, obviously, like fast food, soda. As I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not lost on me, my friend. The irony is not lost on me. I cracked it open and literally I was like, oh fuck.
It's fine. Everyone has those
I know.
sweet
Everybody's
treats or
got them.
comfort foods, so
It's one a
totally
day.
fine.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
But what would somebody take away? What's like something that they maybe aren't aware of? We all know fast food and soda, sugar.
Yeah. Also, highly processed foods. Think about all of the things that you have in a can or a box. I mean, those are important because they're shelf stable, but if they're highly processed, maybe they don't look at all like the original thing that they were. That's really important. You want to eat as few of those as possible. They are linked to can be considered carcinogens. So just be mindful of that. Try not to have as many of those as possible. Um, yeah, I mean, start there. That is an easy one that you can drop. Just try to add in more fresh foods to your diet instead of maybe frozen foods or highly processed foods.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. Y'all, there is not a macaroni tree. So, and if it doesn't grow, consider not putting it in your body. Also, you never see any like Little Debbie snack cake fields. There's a reason for that. It's just
Yeah.
not, they don't grow, right? They don't grow. So I love that. And if you shop the perimeter, if you guys don't know this, if you shop the outside of your grocery store and stay away from the most of the interior, you do much better with that, because that's where all of the good stuff is on the outside. On the inside, it starts to get dicey for sure. For sure. Yeah. So talk about one more thing for me. Talk about your personal journey. What is next for you? What's growth look like for Ivory, either, physically, professionally, personally? What does that look like for 2024?
Yeah, I just want to be able to reach more women, to make sure that they have a safe and welcoming space to practice yoga and Pilates. I know that it's not easy for everyone depending on where they live, but you should be able to have a space no matter what your size, your body type, or your color. Just make making sure that women have a safe and welcoming space to be able to practice, because it is important, as you mentioned, to exercise consistently. And you shouldn't be discouraged from doing that, or find that you can't have a space to be able to work out. So just making sure that more women have that safe space to work out.
I love that. And that, so I'm going to ask you another question. I lied. It's not the last question.
No problem.
Talk about, because you said, no matter your size, your shape, your ethnicity, whatever, this is a safe space. Talk about the body image transformation that comes with yoga and Pilates in particular, because it's just it's not HIIT, it's not kickboxing, it's not Zumba. Yoga and Pilates to me in my head are a different animal. And to me, it also teaches body love, self-confidence in a different way than those kind of modalities do. So talk about that, please.
Yeah, sure. I mean, certainly, I think many people think of yoga and Pilates. They think of someone that is thin, young, super flexible, but you don't have to be any of those things to practice yoga and Pilates. And certainly, maybe you might gain flexibility as you practice, but you are going to have to be very patient with yourself. No one's going to show up on the first day and be able to, jump into a handstand or pop into a split. So it takes a lot of patience and practice to be able to do those things. Maybe you'll be able to do them. Maybe you'll never be able to do them. But it's really all about the journey, and just providing more grace for yourself and being patient, and just be willing to do the work. You are going to have to humble yourself to be able to practice many of these poses that we go through in yoga and Pilates, but it's worth it and teaches you a lot of body awareness, and you do gain flexibility and increase your balance and find more strength as you move through and make progress.
Yeah, I love that so much. It is body awareness, because it's just, I don't know, it's just a different animal compared to the high intensity stuff. It's intense. You don't think it is, but it is intense. and you really have to talk yourself into some of these things, like a wheel. I hadn't done that since I was 12. And then, here I am 20 years later, 30 years later, trying to get into a wheel. And I was like, you've lost your ever loving mind. But I did it. I did it. It took me a couple of months, but I did it. And then I had to be steadfast, and I had to talk myself into doing it. And I did it by being mindful and just being like, okay, today all I can do is, put my hands behind my head. And okay, I pushed up a little bit. Now today all I can do is not push up at all. And it's amazing the up and down. It's not a straight up trajectory, what this looks like, right? It's a roller coaster. And so I think the mental preparedness of starting out a workout regime is like way more important than the actual regime, right? Because that's what's going to drive you. And so again, like she said in the beginning, you guys, I just want to reiterate, rarely is the motivation going to be there at first. Rarely, because your brain is built to keep things in homeostasis. Your brain is built to stay the same. It doesn't like change. It doesn't want change. Change is scary. And so the motivation, more often than not, is not going to be there to start something new, whether it's a new business, a new hobby, a new health routine, whatever. And so you actually have to outthink your brain. Then the motivation and the passion can come. And so, Ivory, tell the women where they can find you, and give us like one more thing for 2024.
Sure. They can find me at my website, ivoryhoward.com, or on social media as Flatbelly Pilates. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the social media platforms. You can find me there. And one more thing. We've talked about so much. We really got into it today. But I would just say, okay, you've listened to the podcast. I want you to just take one action that we talked about today, something that you really connected with, and take action. Take one small step towards
Yep.
making a change in your life. I think this is a good time to be able to do that.
If you guys want to put it in the comments below so we can hold you accountable and then celebrate you when you do that one small thing, I would absolutely love to hold that space for you. And I'm sure Ivory would as well.
Yeah.
So put that in the comments below if you've got that one action that you're going to take right after watching this. It could be something as walking around the block. It could be getting out a mat and stretching. It could be even like decluttering one area of your home, right? That still is physical activity, and it clears up mental space for you to bring on and bring in more things like changing your health routine. And so put that in the comments below so we can celebrate you when you achieve that small goal. And therefore, you'll want to continue to do more because that's a dopamine hit. And we love dopamine for sure. Ivory, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you. My DMV friends, go check her out. Please go check her out. And yes, anything left to say, Ivory?
No, that's it. Thank you so much for having me, and feel free to reach out anytime.
Beautiful. You guys do all the social media thingies, like, follow, subscribe. Y'all already know it's 2024. I don't even need to say this, and yet here I am saying it. So thank you for showing up for another edition of A Few Short Minutes, the pod. Again, and let me incorporate Ivory's thing into this. You guys, it literally just takes a few short minutes a day to change your life. Whether that is being mindful and watching how you speak to yourself, which is what I specialize in, or being mindful of what you put into your body and how you move your body, which is what Ivory specializes in. It literally just takes a few short minutes a day to change your life. So I love you, and I want you to love you, and I'll see you on the next episode.